Please be seated. Good morning. It is good to see and be with each and every one of you this morning. Jesus is traveling with his disciples from the Judean countryside back to their homes in Galilee. A 3-day journey when going through Samaria. He is wearied by their travels and is sitting by a well with no way to get water out. His disciples have gone into the city to buy food for their rest. It's in the heat of the day, and Jesus is thirsty. A Samaritan woman comes to draw water from the well and fill her jar. Jesus simply asks for a drink. How is it that you, a Jew, is talking to me, a woman of Samaria, and asking for a drink? Sometimes the simplest requests are the hardest. There was no love lost between the Samaritans and the Jews. The hostility was generations old, centuries old. Strict Jews traveling between Galilee and Judea would travel miles out of their way across the east side of the Jordan River, adding days to their journey just to avoid passing through Samaria and having interactions with the Samaritans. It's hard for me to imagine being that mad at a whole nation of people who are our neighbors. Back in the day, we fought the British twice for our independence and our sovereignty, yet today we seem to be getting along pretty well with them. Our enemies from World War II, the Germans and the Japanese, we seem to be getting along with just fine. Despite coming of age during the height of the Cold War, I've met quite a few Russians in my life, and I've never thought to myself, I don't like you guys. So when I hear of this general hostility between the Jews and the Samaritans, it's hard for me to get my hands around it. But one day, I had an opportunity to see a modern example of it up close. When I was in business, I had an employee, Sanjeev, who was from India. We were at our customer's location, and one of our customer's contractor's employees was from Pakistan. When we came together in this small room, my employee said to the other, "Hey, Paki." And the other replied, "Hey, Hindi." And for the rest of the time we were together, weeks, those were the only words exchanged between those two. There was no love lost between them. I asked Sanjeev, how did you even know he was from Pakistan? It was the way that he wore his beard. Otherwise, they looked the same. Over time, I gained from Sanjeev some perspective and insight on the hostility between these two neighbors. Generations are born into that hostility. Truth be told, whether we like it or not, we are all born into some sort of hostility where we see ourselves in differential terms from some others. Whether it is being born into cultural systemic racism, classism, national patriotism, religion, politics, whatever it may be, we sometimes go miles out of our way, either literally or symbolically, to avoid regions and interactions with people with whom we share some mutual hostility. This is sin, and we seem to like it. We are comfortable with the way things are because we have been born into it. This is sin. This is what keeps us separated from one another. And as long as we continue to abide in this darkness, it is also what keeps us separated from God. Jesus simply asks for a drink. How can you, a Jew, ask of me, a woman of Samaria, for a drink? It takes longer to say those words. It takes more energy to carry those words with the burden and weight of centuries of hatred than it does to draw a cool cup of water and give it to a stranger? Why are the simple requests sometimes the hardest? Remember what we heard last week. This is the judgment. Light has come into the world, and people loved darkness rather than light because their deeds were evil. If you knew the gift of God and who it was that is asking you for a drink, you would instead have asked Him, and He would have given you living water. As with Nicodemus that we heard last week, who responds to Jesus with words in the literal, "What do you mean one must be born again? Do you mean a fully grown person must again enter into his mother's womb?" Jesus speaks, and this nameless woman responds out of the literal. "Sir, you have no bucket, and the well is deep. Where are you to get this water?" Neither Nicodemus nor the woman understood what Jesus was talking about. They are stuck in the world into which they were born. But their misunderstanding then leads them to deeper knowledge, into deeper experience of something new. Jesus used Nicodemus and the woman's experiences with the literal to lead them into new experience of life. In these verbal exchanges, basic human experience of birth and thirst and water and new life are mere symbols for everlasting life and our dependence on God and God's abundant generosity. They are but a shadow of things to come, signposts pointing into some hazy mist of a new reality we can barely understand, but that we deeply long for. The woman begins to turn the corner. Whereas she had previously balked at the simple request for someone with whom she shared general hostility, now she makes a simple request of him. "Sir, give me this water." And Jesus said, "Yes." He answered right away, "Yes, here you go." The thing is, though, spiritual living water doesn't come to us in a dusty cup. Instead, it is born in a chalice that looks like, "Go and call your husband and come back here." To drink living water means stepping in to the light and being honest about the truth of our lives. We are living in darkness because we do not like the truth about us. When Jesus reveals the truth of the woman's life, she responds in the same way that any of us respond when we are called out. She changes the subject. And what better subject to change to on the subject of morality than religion? But Jesus says, "I didn't come here to talk about this mountain or Jerusalem or religion. I came here to talk about you. The hour is coming, and it is now here, where the true believers will worship God in a deeper, truer way. Your deeds done in darkness are being brought into the light, not for judgment, but so that you may live into this deeper truth, so that you may drink living water and never be thirsty again." Notice Jesus does not condemn her or chastise her or shame her at all. He doesn't even offer her forgiveness for anything. He just continues to reveal himself. He continues to draw her into the light of his truth, and before long, she abandons the water jar. She drinks of Jesus' living water and becomes the water jar herself, gushing forth new life. She rushes home and says, "Come and see." Her neighbors believe her because of her testimony, and before long, they believe because of their own witness. Samaritans And at least 13 Jews spent 2 days together, sharing space and food and drink, conversation, and much more than a dusty cup of water. Jesus broke or violated cultural norms in talking to a Samaritan, in talking to a woman alone. He talked to someone he shouldn't have, and he healed centuries of mutual hostility, giving this small group of people and us a glimpse of what everlasting life looks like. What norms or boundaries does he break to talk to you? What are the reasons he shouldn't be talking to you at all? He knows you're thirsty, and he talks to you anyway. Ask him for living water, and immediately the answer is yes. Jesus calls you into the light of his presence, not for judgment or to shame, but to offer new and abundant life. So, welcome the stranger. Give someone a drink. Become a jar of water gushing forth new life. And share that with others. The harvest is ripe and ready. All it takes is a simple invitation. Come and see.